everybody, welcome to the Love People Use Things podcast. My name is Matt Fradd, and really glad that you're here today. A big thanks to everybody who has, just been supporting us. So many of you have begun to support us on Patreon. Some of you are giving us like $1 a month, and I'm just super grateful for that. And some of you are giving more. Thank you so much. And I want to say a big thanks to all of you who have reviewed us on iTunes. I want to read out a couple of these most recent reviews that we've got and say a big thanks. So here we go. Just let me just read 3 of them. By the way, like right now, we have 83 reviews, and we have 80 of them are 5-star reviews. So my goodness, thank you so much. Here's what a few people had to say. Faith Randolph says, only listened to 1 episode so far. Really awesome. Makes me want to take time off of the internet. Thank you. L Blown Apart says, even if you're struggling with something else, this is a great podcast. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Christensen J says, this is an excellent podcast with content presenting the plethora of troubles with porn. Matt also gives great information and tips on how to fight against the harmful effects of porn. If porn is a problem for you or someone you know, then this is the podcast that you need to be listening to. Gosh, so many here. This is super great. Audrey Luna says, the podcast is so needed. Such a simple title, but a deep, deep truth. Keep sharing this message because we all need it. My husband works in mental health and has already mentioned he'll use it as a source to recommend to patients. Let me read one more, and then let's read some of the bad reviews, because you want to hear some of the hate mail too, right? Someone says, Matt Fradd does such a great job of informing the listener on the harmful effects of porn and many other factors that surround it. It's great for people who struggle with addiction to porn as well. Matt Fradd is straightforward, funny, and down to earth. He places all the non-religious research on the table. So thank you very much. All right, now let's see here. What do we got here? Most critical. Oh my goodness, there's hardly any that are critical. All right. MalPal468 says, and this is a 3-star review, I enjoy the advice and statistical support for the arguments Matt is making against porn, all of which I mostly agree with. However, I feel as if he is mostly directly speaking to men. And although that may be the majority of porn's audience, I think it makes it a bit more difficult for the female listener to relate and take in the content of the podcast. I want to say, if you're listening, a big thank you for that critique. No doubt you're right. I want you to know that isn't because, I'm not aware that women struggle with porn. I do my best to do it, but clearly I've failed. And so I want to just say a big thanks. And it was actually because of your review that I've decided to interview a female who struggles with pornography, and she'll be on the podcast coming up. So big thanks for that critique. Anyway, a lot of people use things. Wherever you're listening to it, Stitcher, iTunes, leave us a review. Big thanks. Today I want to talk about the 3 ways that how's that for a accusation? 3 ways you fund the porn industry by going to free sites. All right? 3 ways you fund the porn industry by going to free sites. When I wrote my book, The Porn Myth, a couple of years ago, it took about 3 years in total. There was a lot of research that went into it. There was a lot of editing, a lot of writing. And this is one of the things that I found, really interesting, because you might say, I don't actually support this disgusting, despicable industry. Like, I'm with you, man. I get porn stinks. It's gross. Look what the women go through. Look what the men are turned into, essentially beasts without hearts or brains. I don't want this. I don't want to support this. I don't support it. That's why I only go to free sites. Well, that's a myth. If you go to free sites, you support the industry. If I go to free sites, I support the industry. Well, how's that? Well, while porn is obviously a huge moneymaker, in the last several years, the industry's profits have seen a downturn, to be sure. Now, this isn't because people are losing interest in porn, obviously. It's because, as you've already guessed, of the enormous availability of free porn online. According to the Journal of Internet Law, in 2005, pornography accounted for 69% of the total pay-per-view internet content market, outpacing even news, sports, and video games. A year later, the sex-related entertainment business including video sales and rentals, internet sales, cable, pay-per-view, phone sex, exotic dance clubs, magazines, and novelty stores, brought in estimated revenues just under, where is it here, $13 billion in the US global porn revenues. Globally. And then porn revenues were estimated at $20 billion. Yeah, it's so funny, like, as a Catholic, I always get a little frustrated when I see these t-shirts that say, sell the Vatican, feed the world. How about quit porn and feed the world? How about that? How about sell the porn industry and the money we're spending masturbating to our iPhones? We started doing good with it, you know? All right, so yeah, big industry, okay? Clearly, a lot of revenue. However, only 5 years later, the Free Speech Coalition estimated both global and US porn revenues declined by 50% due to the amount of free porn available online. One economic study reported between 80 and 90% of internet porn viewers only access free material, whether it be free samples of pay material, bootleg copies, or amateur photos and videos. That's a lot, eh? 80 to 90% of people who view porn are getting it free. So you might be thinking, how do porn websites make their money? Like, the internet saturated with free porn, how is this still a big thing? So I want to say three things here. And those three things are, number one, premium content, number two, malware, and number three, advertising. So firstly, premium content, all right? Porn sites entice visitors to pay for premium content such as membership to access full-length videos, high-definition videos, 3D videos, films, and leading performers, behind-the-scenes content, or content without ads or pop-ups. Now, you think, is this really successful? Well, relatively so, actually. Since 2008, an estimated 3 million Americans purchased pornography online, paying an average of $60 per month. I mean, when you think about it, like, that's what I'm trying to do for y'all. Like, not give you porn. What I mean is, Noah and I are inviting you to support Love People Who Use Things on Patreon. We're basically giving you free content, and then we're saying, if you support us, we're going to give you this stuff for free, you know, and you're doing it. Like, some people are doing it. We want a lot more of you to do it, but it's like, that does work. And you think, well, if it works for that, if it works for a free t-shirt and a sticker and live streams to help you be free of porn, it's probably also going to work for people who are watching porn. So that's the first way porn sites make their money, online premium content. The second way is malware. So what if you aren't one of those people, though, right, who's paying money to porn sites to get premium content? What if you've never given porn websites a cent? Well, one way porn sites make money is through malware, which means malicious software, all right? This can include viruses or spyware that are downloaded to a user's device without your consent, and they cause technical problems or monitor and control your online behavior, right? I mean, that shouldn't totally surprise us. If you go to Amazon and you look up a particular thing, all of a sudden you notice there's a crap ton of adverts for that thing. I think that's fine. But what I'm talking about is something a little more deviant. I mean, and also, I mean, like, you probably weren't aware that when you were looking at porn, you know, that all of a sudden you're getting a lot more advertisements for pornographic things and stuff related to that, you know? And sometimes affiliates will pay websites for every download of their malware, right? So they have a vested interest in pushing this stuff without you even knowing it. Now, let's see if I can get his name right. Gilbert Wondrakek, who's a postdoctoral scholar at Vienna University of Technology. He actually invented a web crawler to download content from 500,000 porn sites. And he found that 3.23% of the pages visited contain malware of some kind. Now, you might think, that's not much. 3.23%, that's not much. Right, but it's actually 5 times the prevalence of malware discovered in previous research. And when you multiply that by millions of daily visitors, it actually adds up to a lot of potentially vulnerable computers, right? So the third way porn sites make their money is by advertising, which shouldn't surprise us, right? Like, consider this. Consider that some of the online services that you and I use for free, what are they? Google, right? Maybe you've never paid Google or Cent, Facebook, right? And there's millions of others of websites like that we're frequenting on a daily basis, and we have not paid them a cent. Yeah. So it would be like ridiculous to be like, well, I don't support them. I just go to the free ones. No, like with an internet-enabled device and an internet connection, sites are free for public consumption. That's true. And yet some of them are among the most profitable businesses in the world. And how? Well, advertising. Like much of that money is made through advertisements. And porn sites are no different, right? Porn's no different to that. So there might be display ads on the videos themselves, ads that pop up when the video's paused, or sidebar advertising. Now, advertisements might come from specific affiliates or an ad network that contains advertisements for hundreds of thousands of companies. And so money is made to porn sites every time someone clicks on the ad. That's called pay-per-click. But it's also every time the ad's shown, pay per impression, right? And every time visitors buy the advertised product or service that you've clicked through to go through, that's called pay per sale. So pay per sale, pay per impression, pay per click. So like you can't even get around it by like, okay, I see these advertisements, but I'm just not going to click on them. No. Just by you scrolling and seeing that, you've just paid the porn industry to continue and perpetuate this rotten behavior that you protest or ought to, The other way they get it is by giving a sliding percentage based on traffic volume. So anyway, here's the point. Like, if you or I go to free sites, we are not innocent here, all right? By merely browsing porn sites, spending hours on end, racking up page views, you or I, both of us, all of us, whoever goes to porn sites, are contributing to porn's profits. Because many of the pages you visit, right, cost per impression, these like porn sites are like, they have deep pockets, man, and you're filling them every time you go to a porn site. Like, that's not a guilt tactic, although you should feel guilty, I think. Right. I don't know why we're so opposed to guilt. Guilt is like pain is to the body, right? Guilt is to the mind and heart what pain is to the body. If you never felt pain, that doesn't mean you're healthy. That means there's something wrong with you. Especially if you like fell over and hit your face and started bleeding profusely. You don't feel that? That's bad, man. Likewise, if you're like masturbating to pornography and you don't feel guilty about that, that's not a sign that you're healthy. That's a sign that something's gone deeply wrong with you, man. So like feel guilty and then let it act. Look, I get it. Guilt isn't a great motivator. It needs to transcend to like love, because we've been made to love, not made to guilt, right? But guilt might just stoop to conquer, right? It might be a nice place to begin. So here's what I want to say, other than be awesome and refuse to click. Rather than contributing to porn's profits, why don't you do something awesome like contribute to their downfall? And here it might sound like I'm getting dangerously close to having you advertise me, but that is because I am. But you should like tell people about this website. And not just my website. Like there's great stuff out there. Addicted to Internet Porn is Noah's site. Addicted to internetporn.com. Fightthenewdrug.com is a great website. Gosh, man. There's like so much. Yourbrainonporn.com. What if just today you just tweeted out something like that? Because you know that there's someone on your social media feed who's struggling with porn and hasn't told anybody, and all of a sudden they see your post, and all you did was post fightthenewdrug.com or Fortify Program, or, and they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I need. So instead of contributing to the porn industry, right, contribute to helping people be free of porn. That's a beautiful thing. And that's why I find my job so satisfying, quite honestly. And that's why you should join me. Like maybe not all of us have platforms like I have platforms. Like I'm really blessed that I get to speak to tens of thousands of people every year on this topic. Like I think last year I spoke to about 50,000 people, college students, high school students, men's groups, whatever. But all of us need to do this, especially if we've been involved in filling porn's pockets with money by going to their sites. We got to do anything we can. Anything we can. Doesn't matter. You just reach out on your social media. You start a blog. You record your story. You start a podcast. Maybe you want to start an anti-porn podcast. You think I'm worried? Yeah, somebody said to me, it was funny, I was doing an interview, Laura Ingram's show, whatever you think about Laura. I think, it doesn't matter what you think about her. The point is, it's a Fox News sort of radio outlet that I was on. And she asked, maybe it wasn't her, but somebody said, like, who's your biggest competitor? I said, Pornhub. Like, she was expecting me to say, like, Fight the New Drug, or, are you kidding me? No. Fight the New Drug is like an ally. And if you start a podcast, you're not a threat to me. Start it. Do better than me and Noah are doing, would you? Please. Start a blog, start a video log. Do what you can do where you are to get the word out. And I tell you, there is few things as powerful as one story. If this is something you struggle with, for you to come out and say, I'm struggling with this, that sets people free, man. It sets people free. I was so just blown over the other day. I was speaking at a big conference up in Wisconsin, and a beautiful young woman, she was in her teenage years, she got up in front of, like, I want to say 800 women, and she shared how she was addicted to porn and how she found freedom from it. I'm telling you, it blesses people tremendously, because then they don't have to live in silence and shame and fear anymore. They too are then, like, they're given a taste of freedom. They can come out. They can be honest, since you were the one who led them to that honesty, and it blesses people. It blesses people. So share your story. And maybe you're like, well, I don't feel really comfortable doing that right now. Okay, share your story with a pseudonym if you need. You use a fake name for now. But we got to start talking about this, because we want to live lives that are beautiful, lives that are true, lives that are good, and porn gives us the opposite of that. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you're really enjoying the Love People Use Things podcast in general. If you haven't yet, review us on iTunes. If you haven't yet, start supporting us on Patreon. Yes, I'm telling you to give us your money. I know that's awkward, but I don't care, because that money is like going to me and Noah, and it's helping us do this podcast. We want to eventually do weekly videos. We want to start a Facebook account. We want to start, like, live streams. Like, we have plans to make this go from good to great. Not just that, but we want to start advertising this on SoundCloud and YouTube and all these different areas. Like, it takes a lot to build up a podcast. Like, right now, we're only getting 2,000 to 3,000 downloads when we release an episode that day, and then we get, obviously every other day we get a bunch as well, but that's the high points of the week. Believe it or not, that's not a lot of podcasts. Downloads. There's not a lot of downloads, I'm thrilled that we're doing that, but I really do believe that this podcast could reach so many more people, and in order for that to happen, we need your help. So, if you want to help, go to lovepeopleusethings.fm, click donate. If you can give us $10 a month, we will send you a really attractive Love People Use Things t-shirt. Seriously, it's beautifully, it's nice and soft. It's not like thick ink. It's just lovely. And we'll also send you a Love People Use Things sticker for your water bottle or laptop, and you'll totally love it. It'll be great. Again, lovepeopleusethings.fm, like AM and FM, and click donate. Thanks so much for listening. Tell people about the show, and have a good porn-free week. Bye.